Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November meeting of the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority Commission. I am Andrew Taherzadeh, Assistant Director of Marketing Communications at the FCEDA. I am your moderator for this meeting. That means I will have control over the audio functions of the call, and I will control the slides that will be used during the meeting. At this time, I would like to ask all those on the call to please mute their devices or mics. And now I would like to welcome members of the commission to the meeting. Chair Kathy Lang, Vice Chair James Quigley, Secretary Ron Johnson, and members Lenny Heemsworth, Rocky Mitchell, Pallavi Sabu, and Joe Vitalich. FCEDA President and CEO Victor Hoskins and Executive Vice President Alex Imes are on the call, as are EDA Counsel Mike Graff, several EDA staff members, consultants who represent the EDA in offices overseas and California, and our marketing communications consultants. I would also like to welcome Fairfax County officials who have joined us for the meeting. Presenting from the FCEDA in the open session meeting tonight will be Chair Lang, President and CEO Victor Hoskins, Executive Vice President Alex Imes, Vice President of Talent Michael Batt, and Vice President of Marketing Communications Anna Nissanen. This meeting is being recorded. Members of the FCEDA Commission who have questions will have the opportunity to ask questions as they normally would during meetings. If anyone from the public has any questions, please select the chat function at the bottom of the Zoom screen to ask a question, or email Cheryl Martelli of the FCEDA. Cheryl's email address will be posted in the chat box. We will not answer questions from the public during the meeting, but we will respond to all questions in writing afterward. With that, I'll ask Chair Lang to begin the agenda. Chair Lang.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. And welcome to our November meeting. We have an open session planned for tonight, and then we will go into closed session. In addition to the regular agenda items, we'll be voting on a resolution in support of Fairfax County's Founders Fund, as well as appointment of new Fairfax County Economic Development Authority Commission officers. So let's get started. The first thing is to ask for the approval of the October meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion?
So passed.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Sabu. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Quigley. Is there any discussion? Great. I call the question. Council Graff, will you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Ms. Sabu,
Yeah.
Mr. Vigilic.
I abstained because I was absent from the last meeting.
Thanks, Joe. Ms. Hainsworth.
I also abstain as I was absent from the last meeting.
Thank you, Lenny. Mr. Mitchell. Is Rocky with us today or not?
I don't see him.
Okay.
I wonder if that's going to give us a
One,
quorum
two.
here with two abstentions.
Now we have a quorum. We have a quorum for the meeting, and a majority of the quorum can approve the minutes. So
Okay.
I'll go to Dr. Johnson.
Aye.
Vice Chair Quigley.
Aye.
Chair Lang.
Aye.
So we have four votes in the affirmative, and the meeting minutes from last month are approved.
Thank you very much. Okay, now for the treasurer's report. Unfortunately, both of our commissioners are out of the country, Commissioner Partridge and Commissioner Wagner. So I am going to take the financial report. Bear with me 1 second. This report represents 4 months, 33% of fiscal year 2023, and 27% of the budget has been expended. The operating budget increased by $365,627 due to the transfer of funds from the IRB fee fund. These funds have been allocated to the marketing communications per the commission action on June 27, 2002. And I know our Marcom team is working very diligently on the business investment campaign that will be funded by these dollars. So we will look forward to hearing more about that. All righty. So now we will move on to a presentation on the Fairfax County Founders Fund. And I'm going to turn it over to Alex, Executive Vice President Iams.
Thank you, Chair Lang, and good evening, everyone. For this item, we have a presentation from our partners with the Fairfax County Department of Economic Initiative, and we've been working with them for several months on this. They visited with us at the June 2022 Commission meeting to introduce the Fairfax Founders Fund, and they're back tonight to present the proposed Memorandum of Understanding. I'd like to recognize Ann Rosenblum from our team for her work on this proposal. Of course, our attorney, Mike Graff, Ryan Wolf from the County Attorney's Office, among others with the Department of Economic Initiatives. And with us for the presentation is Etta Nahapichian, Manager of Smart Community Innovation and Strategy. And I will turn the floor over to Etta for the presentation.
Thank you so much, Alex. And I'm also here with our Director of Department of Economic Initiatives, Rebecca Maudry. So I wanted to give her a chance, the opportunity to provide some introductory comments. Gosh.
Welcome.
Maybe she's having some technical difficulties. Well, I know she wanted to say thank you to everybody, and I know she wanted to talk about her appreciation for the partnership that we've been experiencing with everybody at the EDA, and to give a special shout out to James Quigley, to Commissioner Quigley, for all of his support in our work in conceptualizing this program. I hope she's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh, I cannot share my screen.
Hi, Etta. Let me open up the settings so you'll be allowed to share your screen. One moment.
Thanks. And while you're doing that, Andrew, you know, we as Alex mentioned, we came to you all back in June and presented the program, which has substantially stayed the same. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of give you all a little bit of an overview again to remind you of the program, and just lay out a little bit on the details on the Memorandum of Understanding, the different roles and responsibilities between the two parties.
All right, Etta, you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good size.
Yes, is it working? Okay.
Yeah, really.
Good. So just as I mentioned, I'm going to be providing, my name is Etta Nahapichian and from the Department of Economic Initiatives, and I'll be presenting, Rebecca says the link is not working for her. So I'm sorry about that. And provide you an overview, as I mentioned. So a little bit of an overview about the program. Our intention is to establish a fund to respond to the lack of early stage capital for innovative early stage businesses, to foster job growth and economic development within the county, and to promote the resources and the advantages that we have here for the county, for founders here in Fairfax. And we're also further seeking to connect the grantees with technical assistance and resources that we have available here in Fairfax. This is intended to be, as you say, an on-ramp to the venture capital superhighway. We're anticipating that funding will be dispersed over 2 years. And the core issue here is we want to address not only the lack of early stage founding, but we also are targeting and focusing our efforts on providing funding to underrepresented founders in the community. So we are in particular looking for partnership opportunities to make sure we're getting a pretty big funnel of folks coming into the program. So we are targeting the folks that we want. So the funding for the program is $1 million. We are thinking a maximum of $50,000 per award. The funding is coming from the Economic Opportunity Reserve, and we are laying aside $100,000 for the administration of the program from the $1 million. So these are the MOU components, the memorandum of agreement, which lays out applicant eligibility, use of funds, terms and conditions, program measures, and the roles and responsibilities of the county and the EDA. The MOU also has 2 attachments. It has a template advisor agreement and a template grant agreement. So the advisor agreement is an agreement for as we have discussed, we're going to have an advisory committee, a group of folks that we're going to have for the final round of interviews for the grant applicants. And this is going in this. So we have the agreement that a template for that included in the MOU, as well as the grant agreement itself. So eligibility is a reminder, the companies need to be a for-profit company with the principal place of business in Fairfax. We're looking for, actually that should be pre-institutional investment, no more than $250,000 in gross revenue in the last 12 months. The companies should be product companies, scalable, disruptive technology, and with some kind of trajectory to access institutional investment. We're asking the companies to provide a match, 50% match, which is salaries, founder salaries and business expenses. Eligible use of funds include product and prototype development, customer acquisition, pilots, fees that they may have for attorneys for IP. These are some of the program measures that we'll be tracking over time. We'll be asking grantees to provide these numbers for us over 5 years. And we will also be tracking for DEI internally, whether we our program level measures, which are, have we engaged with underrepresented founders? Have we provided referrals to companies and entrepreneurs? We're hoping actually that we will have folks applying to the program that perhaps are not even eligible for the funding, so we can provide them with the resources that would help them get ready for the funding. So some of the roles and responsibilities, the EDA will be physically dispersing the funds and will also be participating in the interview and selection process. The county will be the designee to administer the funds for the EDA. We will be engaging with a grant administrator to set up the intake portal and to do that initial review of eligibility for applications. We will also be engaging with third-party persons, as I mentioned, advisors, as well as potentially consultants to help us review the applications. And the county will be determining the time period for application and will be managing the interview and selection process. Together, we'll be working together to share information with each other about the fund, about the grantees, about potential applicants, and we'll be coordinating our marketing efforts. So the attachments, again, that are to the MOU, the advisor agreement basically covers conflict of interest. And this is a template, and we know that once we get to the point of asking for signatures from the advisors, we may need to make some modifications to it. But we're trying to kind of thread the needle between having a separation of, we don't want anyone conflicts of interest of folks that are providing us with advice, but we don't want to make it too stringent so that to limit any potential funding that the advisors could help facilitate. And then the grant agreement template, which will be laying out the milestones for the grantees and the reporting requirements. Our next steps are to finalize agreement with the grant administrator. Right now, we've been working with VIPC, we've been having conversations with them. They, as many of you know, they have the Commonwealth Commercialization Fund, and our grant program has a lot of symmetry with their program. And VIPC is really interested in potentially partnering with us to be able to use the partnership with us as a pilot to potentially do similar partnerships with other Commonwealth jurisdictions around the state to try to expand, to try to encourage other jurisdictions to also have similar grant programs. And then next steps are also developing the intake portal and engaging with program advisors. We also will need to work together to develop a marketing plan. Some concepts here are outreach to local media, raising awareness among our local partners, reaching out to local angels and the underrepresented community to help us get the word out, setting up LinkedIn pages, things like that. And we're hoping to launch in the first quarter of 2023. So that is it in a nutshell.
And Etta, I noticed that Rebecca was able to join.
Oh,
and,
great.
If she did want to make some, now be a good time.
Hi, thanks, Alex. Sorry, I joined late. I had the wrong link, but I actually just wanted to thank the EDA, and Etta very well may have done this, because this has been a tremendous partnership in putting this program together. And in fact, Victor was definitely as an instigator or a leader and kind of bringing this as a need and an opportunity back. It's been a couple of, I think it was in maybe 2021 when we first started talking about this. And Alex has been tremendously helpful in just getting us to where we are, as well as many others. And even James Quigley participated in a presentation to our board on this topic. So thanks to everyone in helping to develop this program. And yeah, Etta is really the lead. So any questions we'd be happy to take.
This is an exciting program, by the way. It's really an exciting program. So thank you. And the teamwork together, and now we need to execute. And I have full confidence that it's going to make a real difference for companies in our area. So thank you to everybody. Any questions?
Yeah, I do have a quick one, and I too think it's an outstanding opportunity for small businesses to get connected and aligned with future investors. My question is about really twofold. One is the benchmarking of how we've structured the program. Can you give some insight about, where we looked to compare and contrast the approach would be one question. And the other thing, which I'm always concerned about with new companies developing products, is the advisory approach for conflict of interest is really important. And you spoke about that. The protection of the IP that they get to have access to. Are we really doing all that we can to make sure that we put arms around that area of protection for the companies that are developing the IP that they're hoping to, advance their business in the future?
Sure. So first I'll start with the benchmarking. We did had very in-depth discussions with folks. There's some similar efforts that have happened here, Arlington and Prince William, and also with VIPC itself, the state program. So we talked and tried to do some lessons learned based on some other iterations of similar programs. And as I said, we're really trying to mirror the VIPC program, the Commonwealth Commercialization Fund, as much as possible, because folks will be applying to both, and they'll be able to use matches. They could use our funds as a match for VIPC. And
I'm horny stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my shit. I'm horny as fuck, man. I'm a freak, man. Like,
I don't know if folks can
I
mute.
think we're having Zoom terrorist here. I wonder, from EDA side, can we find a way to mute?
Yeah, James, I'm in the process of reporting all of these. It seems like as soon as I report one, we're getting another person jumping in and
Right.
joining our call. So I'm on top of it, trying to make sure that anybody that comes in, they're going to be removed immediately.
Seems like we still have someone on as well.
Yeah.
Would it be helpful to temporarily adjourn the meeting so that you all can do it and this is not in the recording?
Yes.
I think.
There you go. Either that or mute everyone and we have to manually unmute people after they raise their hand.
It might make sense just to adjourn the meeting for about maybe 5 minutes so that they can take care of that. I'm
Okay.
just.
Do we need a different Zoom link would be my question.
It has to be a public thing though, right? We had to.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Madam Chair, I think perhaps the recess, I think council can speak to this, but I'm not sure we want to adjourn, just take a recess.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. Correct.
That's okay. No, it's all right.
All right, so we have, it's.
Motion to recess the meeting until I call the chair.
Okay, it's 6:21. Let's give to 6:26. Okay, so that's 5 minutes. All right.
Hey, it took us a year and a half for this to happen, or 2 years, whatever it is now.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, we'll
Not
see you
bad.
back in 5 minutes.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Andrew, there's definitely a feature where doesn't it auto mute everyone and you have to unmute them for them to talk? Is that correct?
Yes, yes. We're looking at that now. So if we need to do that, then we'll go ahead. I think we got the bad actors out of the room. But
Okay.
since it is public, they could potentially join again. So I'm keeping my eye on it.
All right.
And if we need to do the mute all,
Yeah.
we'll resort to that. Thanks, y'all.
And this goes into other duties as assigned, kind of a part of your job function, I guess. So thank you.
Sure thing.
Welcome to this generation of meetings like this. There you go.
Thanks, Andrew.
I was asking them to identify themselves as I was seeing the names come up. And whoops, never mind. That might be Kathy. Oops.
Just be aware that it's still, the recording's still going on, so.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, and I think that following James's suggestion, Commissioner Quigley's suggestion of muting all, let people raise their hand to speak, because that's the only way you're going to control the audio.
Yeah, I think the only other concern would be if they activate their video.
Jeez.
You can take them off video.
Yeah, those two, I removed them immediately. I do see a name in here, Regina Hudson. I don't know if that's anybody that somebody is familiar with. Anybody else that's in the participants, I do recognize the names.
Well, I mean, it's open to the public, so it's impossible to
True.
do that.
Okay, well, I did set the mute all function, so if we feel confident to move on, then I'm gonna keep my eye on this and we'll be sure to remove anybody as needed.
No worries.
Well, I was told when you joined the Fairfax County DA, it wasn't going to be boring. So I appreciate you, Andrew, for sure.
You know, what's interesting is there was no password required on this, so I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, but I mean, it's an open meeting, right? So,
Well, but usually, all right, well, maybe not. Okay.
yeah.
So where were we? We were
I think
on
you have to call the
questions.
meeting. I
Yeah.
think you have to call the meeting back to order, Kathy, and then.
Okay, I will call the meeting back to order. And oh my goodness gracious. I asked Cheryl to send the resolution, which is of the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority with respect to the proposed Fairfax Founders Fund. It is a very long resolution. I'm not quite sure what we do with it. It was in our meeting minutes.
I think it's only one page, Kathy.
You want me to read it?
Well, was it not distributed to the
Well, it was in the,
commissioners in advance?
I think it was. Did all the commissioners see it? It was in the package.
I'm happy to summarize it.
Would you summarize it, please? And then
Yeah.
we can go to a vote.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Are there additional questions about the program, Kathy, or would you like?
I don't know. Did Commissioner Hainsworth get her questions answered?
I was halfway through answering, but I don't know if you want me to continue.
Well, she's not here, so.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. I know she's not feeling well, so just as a side point. Okay.
Chairman Lang, if we have quorum, I did read the resolution on page 15 and 16 of the packet, and I'm happy to move its adoption.
Okay. All right.
I see that Commissioner Hainsworth is back, so maybe
okay.
Perhaps it'll answer her questions. Might be helpful before we vote.
That sounds good. Let's have Etta respond to Commissioner Hainsworth questions, and hopefully we'll get no outside visitors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, Commissioner Hainsworth, yes, so yes, we did do some benchmarking with surrounding jurisdictions, and we are continuing conversations. They're checking in with us to see how we're doing. And every time we see each other, we talk about it. And we are, like I said, we're trying to have some symmetry with the state program. I think you asked about IP. So yes, regarding IP, they can use the funds to protect their IP. I think you asked about the protection, and if I'm understanding the question correctly, we are asking that they not necessarily share with us any proprietary information. I don't know if that's the direction you were going in, unless it's absolutely necessary, because it's tricky because we have FOIA requirements, and there's ways that we can protect the information if they tell us up front that this is proprietary information, but it's just better unless it's absolutely necessary for them not to share proprietary information with us as we're going through the process. And the advisory, the challenge with the advisory group, the advisors that we're bringing in, we want that expert group of folks to come in to help us decide on who the best grantees are. And we're hoping that in the future that this helps get the word out about these companies, and they attract investment from the community. And the people we're asking to be advisors are folks that do have access to that kind of investment. But we do want not there to be a conflict of interest. So we don't necessarily want the advisors to be on their boards during this process. Or to be for the grantees to be paying the advisors for anything. So I think the way we're threading the needle at this point is that during the grant period, which will be about 2 years or less potentially, that the grant is active, that we don't have this conflict of interest. But once the project is complete, because we're asking them to provide an application for a specific project, there's something that has a beginning and end, and when they finish it, then the grant is over, and they're just reporting to us for 5 years. After that is done, then potentially they can enter into financial agreements with the advisors.
The good news too, there's a lot of proxies for how these types of grants from government groups can go into these institutions, as well protect the county because they don't want to be in that position, and we don't want to lock down too much risk there. But at the same time, to honor the fact that these early stage companies are, sharing, critical business practices or technology components. But there are great proxies already available. I mean, CIT is more of an investment, or pardon me, the Virginia Innovation Fund. I keep messing up the new name for it, but we've done this even in the Commonwealth before, too.
What? Did I lose you?
Nope.
Okay,
you're good.
okay, good.
Thank
All
you.
right, yes. Mike?
Yeah, so were there other questions, Kathy, or would you?
I don't think, were there any other questions?
No, I was just going to add one thing too, that I am really proud of the county to stepping up in a time too when, I mean, we could argue that there's a lot going on economically in our region. But the county's doubled down on their effort to really make this the place where innovation starts and grows. I'm excited to not only for this million, but equally, my advice to the county has been that programs like this make an impact over time, and you have to be patient and you have to be there for it. So you have to keep investing into this so that you can take what will probably be a decade before you see measured results, and that we also make sure that we are measuring the results against this, whether it's jobs or future funding rounds or whatever it might be. But I'm very proud of the county leaning into ideas like this and investing in future companies that could be our next our own Amazons in the area.
Our next Go Canvas.
There you go. Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
I love the phrase, innovation starts and grows here. So we have a new tagline, Anna.
Trademark.
Okay, so Mike, how about you want to just give a quick summary, and I have forwarded the resolution to everybody, and I believe that Joe was then going to make a motion. You want to give us a quick? Yeah.
And I believe the resolution was distributed in your packets. And
Yes, it's true.
it's about a page in length. The sort of 70% of it are a set of recitals that track the description of the program and the description of the memorandum of understanding that Etta summarized for you. And then there are 3 resolve clauses whereby the resolution would have the commissioners approve the EDA's participation in the program, delegate to the officers of the commission the authority to finalize the documentation and execute the documentation, delegate the ongoing administration of the program in accordance with the MOU, and also delegate that officers of the authority can take other actions in furtherance of the implementation of the program. So that's really the gist of the resolution that's before you. Happy to answer any questions, or it might be in order for, if there's a commissioner that would want to move approval of the resolution, that would be the next procedural step.
Yes.
Chairman Lang, I move adoption of the resolution.
Okay, very good. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Do we have any further discussion? All right, I'm going to ask our counsel to do the roll.
Very good. Ms. Sabu.
Where is she? There she is. She's on mute.
I think she's giving a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Well, Alex, I don't know. Do you need to, does someone need to manually unmute her? Are we locked down that hard here?
Maybe she can type her vote in the chat.
Yeah, type your vote in the chat.
Mike?
Yeah, good.
Joe, you've done this a lot, huh?
I have. I'm a Zoom expert these days.
Okay, let's move on.
Do we have an indication that?
Yes,
Oh.
is that coming through?
Yes, now.
Okay, I don't know why I'm forced muted, but sorry.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Vigilant,
Aye.
Commissioner Hainsworth,
Oh,
I said aye, you don't hear me?
We
now-
can hear.
now we
you now.
do.
Thank you very much. Secretary Johnson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Quigley,
Aye.
Chair Lang.
Aye.
So there's 6 votes in affirmative, all members present voting in favor of the Fairfax Founders Fund resolution, which has now been adopted.
Congratulations, everyone.
Oh.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank
We're
you,
going to-
Etta, Rebecca.
Thank you. All righty, so now we're going to move on to election of officers. That's the next item on our agenda. So the governance committee, which has been comprised of Chair Lang and Commissioner Partridge, have prepared a list of potential officers. Considerations were to include tenured board leadership, attendance, newer board leaders to bring continuity, new board leaders to bring continuity, fresh perspectives to the leadership. In addition, as per our bylaws, we're able to appoint an assistant secretary, which helps to provide additional support for the duties of the secretary, especially due to the time requirements and sometimes volumes of various documents that need board signatures. These terms will begin January of 2023.
And
So
2-year
that-
terms, Kathy?
Yes, 2 years terms beginning and January of 2023. And that's per our bylaws. I'm going to, as part of the governance committee, the nominee for treasurer is Commissioner Vitalich. Is there any discussion about his nomination? Well, I'd like to say something. I am delighted to have Commissioner Vitalich join us as the treasurer, and Commissioner Partridge is delighted to support you as you make a transition into that role. So with that, unless there's any further discussion, I'm going to ask our council to poll the commissioners.
Yeah, absolutely, Kathy. We should probably also, just as a formality, see if there are any other nominations.
Good
The
point.
office of treasurer.
Good point. Are there any other nominations? Excellent. Okay. I
Okay,
think
so
we're good.
the question is on the nomination of Commissioner Vitalich to serve as treasurer of the commission. And I'll call the roll. Ms. Sabu,
Yes, aye.
Mr. Vitalich,
I abstain.
Ms. Hainsworth,
Aye.
Secretary Johnson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Quigley,
Aye.
Chair Lang.
Aye.
Commissioner Vitalich has been elected your treasurer for a term of 2 years commencing in January.
I appreciate the faith and I hope to do a good job. Thank you all.
Congrats,
Thank you
Joe.
very much. Okay, moving along, the governance committee is nominating Commissioner Johnson as secretary. And so first, are there any other nominations? Without any other nominations, is there any further discussion?
I move the nomination.
Great. Yep, so we shall move to a roll.
I'll call the roll. This is on the nomination of Dr. Johnson to be reelected your secretary.
That's correct.
Ms. Sabu,
Aye.
Mr. Vitalich,
Aye.
Ms. Hainsworth,
Aye.
Dr. Johnson,
Abstain.
Mr. Quigley,
Aye.
Ms. Lang.
Aye.
Dr. Johnson is reelected secretary of the commission for a 2-year term.
Congratulations.
Well, thank
All
you. I look forward to it, and I'll have some help with the assistant secretary. I'm just excited about that.
You like signing all those bond
I
documents.
know.
just
I'm
you
so
do.
happy. I'm so happy. Thank you,
I
Madam
know.
Chair. So
Yeah,
happy.
I know. And of course, our assistant secretary will have the benefit of learning from the pro as a secretary. So we got the pro.
Well,
Okay.
you're kind. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Okay, the governance committee would also like to nominate as assistant secretary, Commissioner Sabu. Are there any other nominations? With none, is there any discussion?
I move the nomination.
That sounds great. All right, council, will you do the
Yeah,
poll?
I'll call the roll on the nomination of Ms. Sabu to be Assistant Secretary of the Commission. Ms. Sabu,
Should I nominate myself?
You
I
can.
think you're permitted to
You
vote
are.
yourself or decline the nomination or abstain, whatever moves you.
Abstain, I guess. I don't know what the right call is, but
That's right.
That's fair. Mr. Vigilic,
Aye.
Ms. Hainsworth,
Aye.
Secretary Johnson,
A loud aye.
Mr. Quigley,
Aye.
and Ms. Lang.
Aye. Excellent.
So Commissioner Sabu has been elected Assistant Secretary.
Wonderful.
I'm so honored. Thank you for appointing me. I feel flattered and humbled.
Congrats.
My first role as an officer was under Dr. Johnson's tutelage as the Assistant Secretary, just so you know. So there you
Well,
go.
those are big shoes to fit in, but
All righty. So the Governance Committee would like to nominate as Vice Chair Commissioner Wagner. Are there any other nominations? Any discussion?
I move the nomination.
Second.
All right, we'll take
So
the roll.
The question is on the nomination of Commissioner Wagner to serve as Vice Chair of the Commission. Ms. Sabu,
aye.
Mr. Vigilic,
Aye.
Ms. Hainsworth,
Aye.
Dr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Quigley,
Aye.
Ms. Lang.
Aye.
Well, you know what they say about when you don't attend a meeting, what happens.
Well, just so you know that he is aware that if for some reason he was to receive the approval of the board, he would be accepting the position.
Well, and he has been elected the Vice Chair of the Commission.
Wonderful.
Right.
And finally, drum roll, the Governance Committee would like to nominate Commissioner Quigley as Chair of the board. Are there any other nominations? Any discussion?
To make it very easy for Cheryl and Dr. Johnson for the minutes, I move the nomination again.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Joe.
Second.
I'll call the question on the nomination of James Quigley to be Chair of the Board of Commissioners of the Economic Development Authority. Ms. Sabu,
Aye.
Mr. Vigilic,
Aye.
Ms. Hainsworth,
Aye.
Dr. Johnson,
Aye.
said Mr. Quigley,
I'll abstain.
and Ms. Lang.
Yes, aye.
Very good. So
Wonderful.
James Quigley has been elected Commissioner of the EDA for a 2-year term beginning in January, and we've elected our slate of officers. And congratulations,
Wonderful.
everybody.
Listen, this is 6.5 years I've been here too, and I'm going to turn it over to Kathy to talk a little bit about the amazing things we've done with Kathy at leadership. But I wanted to let the entire group know that I'm very excited for this. This is bittersweet because I've worked with Kathy directly for I don't know, 6.5 years now or so in various roles, and I'm so very proud of what she's accomplished and what we've done as a group over the last 5-6 years. This has been a heck of a roller coaster ride, and we've probably done more in this last 6.5 years than this EDA had done in the previous 20 years before, just in the amount of major changes our region's gone through. I cannot think of a better person I would have wanted to do it working with as a partner than Kathy. And I thank you so much, Kathy, for everything that you've done. And I know you're not going anywhere, but this is a chance for me to thank you and to let the group know too that I'm committed to taking this energy forward and in a very exciting time for economic development, not just in Fairfax and not just in our region, but throughout the world, as we really figure out what does economic development mean now. And I'm so very excited too to be able to work more closely with Victor and the staff as we explore this next couple of years together, and ultimately we will continue to thrive, survive, and grow, being a leader for innovation, not just in the United States, but throughout the world. So I'm excited and proud to be able to serve as your chairman.
Well, I have to say, it is bittersweet for me. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as chair of the FCEDA, starting in 2016 as an interim chair and then elected in 2017. And we've led this organization through many changes and challenges. We had the retirement of a CEO that had been in place for 40 years. We've assimilated new board members. We have lived through COVID, and now we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do about that. And we set the course by hiring an exceptional president and CEO who, along with the board, has really changed the FCEDA forever and the impact. Our goal was to find a bold, collaborative, innovative leader and one who knew how to execute. Amazon was just one little feather in his cap. And I think we found that person, and he was the right person for us as a board to come together. And we had a national search, and it wasn't always easy to come together and select our leader. From serving on a variety of boards, I've always felt that succession planning is important, and especially for the leadership. And I just felt that now is the right time operationally and personally. I've dedicated my one Monday a night to this board for the last 7 years. I think I've missed 1 or 2 meetings, and I'm planning on doing some international travel for some fun. But that doesn't take away my commitment, but I just feel like it's important to move to another leader, to add new perspective, to add new energy, and to work with the board moving forward. So I've really enjoyed working with everybody. I've learned a lot. I have to tell you, I've learned a lot from each of you. And so just as a quick thing, since our chairmanship here, we created 37,500 jobs, 6 million square feet. We've had a few big companies that have decided to land here. You see who they are. We see them listed as we go down the corridor, the big signs. Clark Construction, Guidehouse is a new one. Starkist, Charlie the Tuna is a new one. Volkswagen, we were able to keep here. And of course, there's Microsoft and Hilton we were able to keep here. And I know it was a very competitive situation. So we've, one of the big accomplishments too was we seeded the funding and launched the Talent Initiative, which really has been extremely successful. And it's a permanent fixture in our regional collaboration to support our employees and our employers. And it's won national, maybe international, at least national awards. So, we should be very proud of that. And the team that's really used all their energy and insights to make this happen. The other thing we were successful doing is in 2021, working with the chairman of the board of supervisors to get 2 new appointees to our commission. That had to go through the legislature, by the way. So it was not an easy task, but it was something that we were able to accomplish. I want to personally thank Victor for his great partnership between me as chair and the board and our team. It's been a delight to work with you and to watch you and to be around your energy and how you transform things and how you've led this staff. It's amazing. So I'm very proud of everything that we've achieved. And I plan on continuing through my term, and will do whatever I can as I pass the baton on to James Quigley, a completely capable and brilliant leader. So we are lucky to have you, and we're lucky to have every board member that we have. So we might be small, but we're mighty, and never forget that. So I'm going to just thank you again, and I'm going to move on to my chair report. This will be not the last one, because I'll have one more in December, but the second to last. So let me move into that. I want to, oh, Dr. Johnson, yes.
Madam Chair, just for 30 seconds, Joe had a wonderful saying in the chat just now, and it simply said, "Well done, good and faithful servant."
Oh.
You know, I've had the great honor of working with 3 chairpersons of the EDA, and I can say without any qualification that I have enjoyed working with you more so than any of the others. And there were some great ones before you, obviously. And I thank you for your transparency, you know, your honesty, your desire to include everyone at the table. You've been open to comments and criticism, et cetera. And for that, I am tremendously grateful given the times that we live in today. So I want to thank you personally for that. And I just look forward to working with you and certainly with your successor. So thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you very much. That means a lot. Really does. Thank you. Okay. So as you know, we're going to be having a series of one-on-one meetings with our Board of Supervisors, and you've been given this chart. We'll make sure you get it again. And the meetings that have been set up that are confirmed are with Chairman McKay, Supervisors Elkhorn, Walkinshaw, Lusk, Faust, and hot off the press, Commissioner Palchak. So we're still working on Commissioner Gross, Stork, and Harity. So those will be moving right along. You know, it's hard to get everybody scheduled together. The other thing we will be giving you is a one-pager on the accomplishments of the EDA. So you'll be getting that. It's already, I'll make sure you get it, you know, after the meeting, we'll send it out to you. But once again, it highlights our accomplishments. Of course, these meetings are meant to be listening meetings. We want to listen, we want to learn, we want to hear what's on their mind, and we want them to know what we do with the very generous funding that they provide to us on an annual basis. So that's something we want to make sure they know. And so really, as a result of that, we'd like you to come out, if you can, with the top 3 things that are on their mind, and really check out whether these things over here are still on their mind or what has changed. And lastly, we have a strategic planning session that's coming together. It will be at the Watermark Hotel next to the Perch. Thank you very much, Commissioner Hainsworth, for making that suggestion. So we've lined that up. January 12th. I have from 7:30 to 12:30. I don't know if it's 8:30 to 12:30, but just for now, put it on 7:30 to 12:30, and we'll fine tune it as we go along. So that's my report. What I'd like to do now is to turn it over to our president and CEO.
Thank you, Chair Lang. Appreciate that. And congratulations to all the officers. It's going to be an exciting year. I will keep my my presentation brief. Right after the last board meeting, things really picked up. I'm just going to I'll talk about a few of them. The first was an interview at WTOP. I had the opportunity to catch up with Holly Sullivan, who handles global economic development for Amazon. She's the one that we had worked with in order to get Amazon's headquarters. In addition to that, we had the person that was the chairperson of the Arlington Councils, who is vice chair right now. He was actually on the panel along with Brian Kenner and a few others. Brian Kenner runs HQ2 policy for Amazon. It was really a great opportunity to talk about, you know, the process that we went through to get Amazon here, but really what was next, which is how do you get K through 12 pipeline in place and make it happen? Not just, you know, for 100 kids, but for thousands of kids. So that was one of the topics that we talked about. And it's been on the radio in clips. And apparently our previous VP of marketing heard it. And he sent me a note when he heard one of the announcements. It's given us some great exposure. And we had an international event where I had an opportunity to present. This is the biopharma. This was in Korea, in Incheon, Korea. And I had done one previously for FinTech, and it went very well. And so we followed up with this one. Next slide, please. then there was the Moxie Awards. We didn't win, but I feel like the group that did win really deserved it. It was all about organizations that do good for people and that do well. And the one that won was really fantastic. We also went to a Go Virginia retreat. Almost every director of an economic development organization in our NOVA, Northern Virginia Economic Development Alliance, was there. We had the opportunity to hear their new direction and the things that they're trying to change to make their process more fluid, to provide funding for projects. Next slide, please. And of course, we've had our NOVA Economic Development Alliance monthly meeting. We elected new officers. I will be stepping down from my chair seat at the end of December, and I will then be past chair. And the new chair is Buddy Reiser from Loudoun County. And then there's a series of other officers, Christina Wynn and Stephanie Landrum, but all these guys, and Patrick Small, they're all fantastic people. So we actually have a slate of officers now, and we are going to be incorporating after 3 years of working through details on how to work together. And then I also had the opportunity to go to Tel Aviv to visit our office in Tel Aviv, meet the team there at Value Based. They were fantastic. We had the opportunity to sit down with venture capitalists, 4 or 5 of them. We had the opportunity to sit down with a dozen companies, also with a couple of universities, and this group called Startup Nation. There's a book called Startup Nation. You might, if you have some time, you might want to read it, but it's all about what Israel did really to create an innovation society. And I got to tell you, I was totally blown away by just the use of technology just in general, but the companies themselves and how seriously they take growth as an ethos. Next slide, please. And this is tomorrow. Our chair, will be past chair soon, but Chair Lang, in one of her last roles, she'll be doing a presentation at Reston to a group of folks. But this is all about the opening up of the Silver Line, which people are looking at as an opportunity for us to get back to business the way we were before the pandemic. Next slide, please. And I am right now in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and tomorrow I will have my first visiting committee at the MIT Corporation for the Department of Urban Studies and Planning, where I did my graduate work. And then subsequent to that, I'll be speaking on Wednesday at the MIT Real Estate School. I'll be lecturing along with a couple of other people on the topic of large-scale transactions. And our NOVA EDA meeting, my last one that I will be, full chair, is just next week too. So this is a busy week. And with that, I think I'm turning it over to talent. Mike Batt, grab the mic.
Thank you, Victor. And thank you, commissioners. Congratulations to the new leadership within the commissioners. You guys have been great advisors to us over in me for the talent programming over the last few years. So I really appreciate that and look forward to continuing to work with all of you. If we go to the next slide, you'll see that we're advancing the talent programming each and every day. And so one of the new areas that we're really diving into is we're taking the lead to launch a new chapter of an organization called Think Big for Kids that is all about career exploration and mentorship and scholarships and career readiness. And so we're working hand in hand with Fairfax County Public Schools, Boys and Girls Clubs, and looking forward to launching that on December 1st. It's really going to be looking for a subset of advisory board members from a diverse set of companies. And we have some exciting companies that are really expressing interest in VW and Cap One. Tomorrow, Commissioner Vitlich, I'm going to Poe Middle School in Annandale for Capital One Coders event. And so we're getting them integrated into this and a number of other companies. Because as you see there, it's amazing in this wealthy county we live in, there are 60,000 students that live below the poverty line, 30% of the students in our county. So we're really going to be focused on helping, fill that pipeline, help our students really thrive here in the county and fill those pipelines for our companies as we do that. And also along the lines of engaging at the K through 12 level, we've been asked by Superintendent Michelle Reed to participate in the strategic planning alignment team. That's a set of staff, families, student, community business leaders, nonprofits, elected officials. And so I will be representing us on that alignment team, and look forward to presenting updates to you as that progresses. So let's go to the next slide, please. All the while, as we continue to advance the cause, we're continuing to have success with career fairs. Just in the last 3 weeks, we've had 3 career fairs where we've reached over 600 talented folks looking for jobs and women in technology. Working with Nova Economic Development Alliance, helped them launch their first career fair at Prince William County down at Quantico. You'll see at that bottom picture, but partnering, we're driving organizations to them like the FBI that we're starting to partner with across all of our career fairs, and then did one last week at Fort Belvoir. So we're still very engaged with the career fairs, and that one at the top there with Rod standing in front of our table from the talent team. I mean, that was women in technology at the Tyson's Hyatt just about 2 weeks ago, and there were almost 200 people there. So real people are showing up to the career fairs, which is great. This is the last slide. I don't have a slide on it, but I did want to note that and really put the plug in. Anna has really been working well with the DCI folks to work on search engine optimization. The talent site is amazing how it's continuing to move and grow. I mean, we're already at about 70% of the views that we had all of last year in the last 4 months, based on optimizing the site and really going strong and making sure that we're driving the right talent and doing digital advertising the right way to drive talent to our site. So, I mean, 66,000 hits last month, 6,500 of them going to look for jobs, almost 300,000 views already in just the first 4 months. So really great. And then I want to put the plug in too for Bill Webb and the market research team on Stephen Tarditi's team. He spent a lot of time helping us do some updates to the stats on that site, because the site's 3 years old now. So he worked real hard to make sure that we added new statistics and really fresh stats on our site. And then Layla Maludi, our talent coordinator, went and updated those on the talent site. So it continues to evolve, and I really appreciate everyone's support on that. So with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Anna now.
Perfect transition right there. I'm telling you, the talent website is on fire. It is absolutely on fire. And my hat's off to DCI team. I know Aaron and I think Allie's here today with us on the call. They really have kicked it up with some metrics for us to look at how we can optimize, like Mike mentioned. And we're looking to do that with also our FCEDA website as we move forward. So starting in January, there are going to be a lot of things happening on the web front for both sides. So next slide, Andrew, please. So we had a great month again in October for our PR and media outreach efforts. We're looking at a little over 22 million in earned media value. We have now crossed the line of 100 million for this fiscal year. We had total 53 million last fiscal year total. So we're a little bit ahead from last year. A lot of the placements that we received last month were also driven by our international trips. So I got to tell you, when our teams go out there to Korea, to India, to Israel, it really blows up our messaging and reach. And huge kudos to our international teams in those countries. Korea and India, we have amazing contractors there that are really kind of my eyes and ears on the ground, and they have great connections with media there and working with our partners. So it has been such a pleasure to work with them, and more to come on that next month. If you can go to the next slide, please, Andrew. So here are some of the things that were drivers of the headlines and really the media value that you saw. And these are some of the social media graphs that we took for you. Obviously, our one and only CEO was in the headlines, being recognized for the great work that we all do every day at the EDA. Also, the opening of Silverline, the pending opening tomorrow, has really elevated the conversation of Fairfax County as the choice place for companies to come because of our placemaking efforts. So we're really going to try to build up this case and use it for media and PR value moving forward. Again, DCI has been a great help in starting to build these stories for us nationally. And then again, we had a great exposure in Korea, specifically last month. The trip that Christy took over there, just incredible. It was in the millions of dollars of earned media value, the exposure we received. And we are just starting to look at our exposure through social. And there's hopefully, I'm hoping in the next 6 months or so, we're going to start seeing some actual dollar numbers attached to what the exposure is that we're receiving on social media platforms. So more to come on that. Next slide, please. But I was very excited about two specific pieces of coverage in the media this past month. So Business Facilities did a huge spread on Virginia in particular, and our economic development activities, our collective economic development activities, and specifically when it comes to green energy and other top of mind industries. And DCI worked on this as well, and we got some really, really good exposure on us as Northern Virginia as the choice location for headquarters. And these kind of pieces really, they don't drive our earned media value, but they really do elevate our efforts. And I'm hoping we can move more of these as we move forward over the next 6 months, as the competition is super hot out there and the economic environment is uncertain. Next one, please. And last but not least, this was in November, so we just had to share it. Victor wanted to share this one, couldn't leave it until November. So Site Selection Magazine obviously ranked Virginia as #1 state for business climate, and we unseated Georgia from that spot. They had been there for 8 years. We jumped from we've been in the top 10 maybe. We jumped over North Carolina, and really some of the things that were keys were the sheer number of announcements. I mean, we have had such an incredible number of announcements in Virginia that it beats, anyone out there. So a lot of that is driven by Northern Virginia and Fairfax County. So, huge kudos to everybody who works on these deals every day. The other piece was our talent pipeline. So everything that Mike is doing definitely is making a difference, and what we're doing as a state. And I know, Mike, you work very closely with VDP and others. So I think we're definitely moving into the right direction. So more of this to come, hopefully. And that was it for me today. Back to you, Victor.
Thank you so much, Anna. And, one of the things that you realize is that something is changing in that we are working together more collaboratively in Northern Virginia, and that really has elevated all of our game. When we talk about tech companies, we talk about the 17,000 in Northern Virginia. When we talk about GDP, we talk about the $229 billion GDP of Northern Virginia, which ranks 49th in the world. I mean, if we were a country, it is such a more powerful way to talk about each other in terms of joint assets. And I think it's made a huge difference. And that's the big thing that's changed over the last few years, because we've been trying to unseat Georgia forever. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chair Lang.
Congratulations on all of that work. It's that's amazing. So we are going to move into a closed session. And okay, we have a motion from our council. Would you like to, and we need to vote on that too, by the way.
Sure, and then we'll discuss the motion as I understand.
Yes, we will.
So there's a motion looking for someone to move, and then for a second, and then for discussion on the following motion. Effective January 1, 2023, increase the EDA president's salary by 10%. That's the first part of the motion. And then the second would be to award the president of the EDA the IRS maximum allowable deferred compensation for 2022 promptly after the IRS announces that amount, which we expect to be announced early in 2023.
Have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
Second
second the
motion.
motion.
Okay, we have multiple seconds and
Yeah.
discussion. So, Victor, we are so appreciative of your leadership and what you have done for this organization. And it's not just in the numbers, which are really, really strong and really, really important in terms of jobs and real estate and the announcements, but it's also how you lead and the way that you have led in this county and in this region and really in the state. And it is because of that that we want you to know our heartfelt support of what you do and how you do it. And you have full support of this board for what you're doing and how you've done it. And we do appreciate, you very, very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Here, here.
Here, here.
Thank you. It's very kind of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You've made a huge difference. I mean, we said bold, bold, innovative, innovative, collaborative. Oh my God, collaborative, and then execute. So you've got it all. So thank you so much. And any other final comments from the other commissioners?
No, we're just fortunate to have you as the leader.
Very fortunate.
We are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, 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 yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I feel fortunate to serve. I really do. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, Victor is a very kind spirit. He really is. Thank you, Victor.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so with
I'll-
Mike.
Yeah, I'll call the question. This is on the motion to award the president and CEO a 10% salary increase effective 1/1/23, and to award the president and CEO the IRS maximum allowable deferred compensation amount for 2023 to be paid promptly after the IRS announces that maximum allowable deferred compensation amount. And I'll start with Ms. Sabu.
Aye.
Mr. Vigilic,
An emphatic aye.
Ms. Hainsworth,
She said aye.
thanks, Lenny. Dr. Johnson,
Joe makes me laugh. Aye.
Vice Chair Quigley,
Huge eye.
Chair Lang.
Super aye.
Better to be laughing than crying, that's for sure.
The motion is approved.
Oh, very good. All right. So Victor, anything you'd like to say? You don't have to. Anything you want to say?
Well, I did want to say that, the team has been extraordinary. I mean, they just are extraordinary. I mean, they work so hard, and everyone these last couple of years has been through so much, and no one has backed off, not a person. And we've had people battling cancer. We've had people with parents passing away. We've had people with children getting deathly ill. It's been a nightmare for many of us, and they have not paused once. Whether it's a dental issue or a foot issue, they managed to get through it, and I'm just so proud of them. And I'm honored to serve with them. So you got to know that I have a great time with them every day. And we pull together, and it's just an amazing group of people that I get to work with. So I'm just thankful to be here, and I'm thankful to serve with you guys. I mean, you have all been so supportive, and you've provided great direction, and you've challenged me, and we're doing things that I never thought we'd do. Nowhere in my mind did I think that we'd be doing some of the things we're doing, but they're all very valuable to our community and very valuable to the people who really benefit from what happens in this community economically. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, with that, I think we're going to have a consent to.
Yeah. Is there any
To adjourn
objection?
by acclamation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by acclamation. Is there any objection? Okay, this meeting is closed.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
all.
righty.
Huge meeting, guys.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kathy.
Good
Oh,
night.
you're very welcome.
Good night. Thank you, James.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Congratulations and
everyone.
thank you.
Thanks,
Victor.
everyone. Thank you, Mike.